How's it going, everybody? I'm back in Fallout 4 again at Starlight Drive-In, and this time I'm going to be showing you guys some of the tiered houses that I built. I mentioned this in the last video when I built like the water purifier, like town center area type of deal. I'm going to be building pretty much like around this area outwards, and it's going to be pretty packed, and there's going to be a couple different videos of just houses. Because I want to have, a pretty like packed, like small little city type of thing. I really want it to be like Diamond City, and that's where I think you'll really notice it after the next set of houses that I built. That it reminds me of Diamond City. I think that's where you guys will notice it too. But my idea for these is to kind of just have them like stacked up on each other, like all intertwined and stuff like that, small little alleys and stuff leading to other ones. And yeah, I think it's going to look really good. But it's also just going to be really oddly shaped houses. I didn't want to just build boxes, so you'll notice that they are kind of boxy, but it's like this first house, I used Place Anywhere to kind of place a foundation kind of at an angle. And then I filled the gap with plywood, so the house is kind of at it's like curved around a corner. And then because I planned on building on top, I used the flat roofs, and then with CVA you get these flat metal roofs, so I used Place Anywhere to place these right in those gaps. And sometimes the gaps require me to use a couple of these, sometimes they don't. It just depends on the structure and how big of an angle I really leave. Like this one, I need another piece. Yeah, so I couldn't get that one in the right angle, so I realized that I needed another one, and so I used Place Anywhere to place one more to fill that little gap. And a rad storm started to blow in, so I go ahead and sleep that off. I'm becoming very conscious of what the weather is like in the game now. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. And because I wanted it to be a small like gap between the houses and stuff, the houses aren't going to be very big at all. And also, they're going to be very close together, so that's why I used just one piece to kind of space the gap between these houses. I used like a little quarter floor or whatever you want to call it. And then I thought about having the doors face each other, but it wouldn't work, so I went ahead and put it on the back side of the house. And then just filled in all the walls. As always, it's kind of hard for me to not repeat textures because I don't have too many walls. I downloaded Skyline's mod recently that adds like a ton of walls and stuff, but I really don't know how I want to use those yet. I've not really figured out a way to use those where I think that it looks that great. Because some of those walls look like they're meant for bigger structures, kind of like the houses at Sanctuary, like those walls that come with unlocked settlement objects. I've not really found a way that I feel looks good to use those walls. So I just go ahead and use wood and metal pretty much for all of these builds. Metal not really very much in either of these houses or the one that's going to be across them on the top. But in the next set of houses, I'm going to use metal, at least for a wall or two, to kind of just at least change the textures a little bit, because it's hard not to repeat textures when I only have like 5 or 6 walls to use. And so back here, like I said, I wanted it to be kind of like an alley, so I'm just I placed some shack bridges through, and then I'm kind of placing some walkways. And you'll notice whenever I do my next build that it's going to be a little bit more closed off with the houses on the right side of where I am right now. And I'm just going to try to make it look a little bit uh, like Diamond City. So when you go like around like where Nick Valentine's detective agency is, it's like really closed, and I think that it looks pretty cool. So here I'm just trying to not use the same textures. I don't want to use the same doors over and over. So I was trying to find different doors for every building and not have any of like the really weird doors that they'd be able to take off of other buildings or build really. Um, and then I want a staircase on the side up to the house. And so with these staircases, how I do it in the next build, I wanted it to kind of be a walkway over the alley and kind of like a fire escape in some way, like a fire escape. Uh, some people are probably going to tell me that that's nothing like a fire escape, but I wanted it to kind of be a walkway over everything, at least a little bit like that. And so they got that idea maybe from downtown Boston or something like that. And then right here, like I said, I wanted to build up on top of the houses, but I wanted it to kind of go across evenly. So all I'm doing here is I'm trying to get these at a good angle. Even if it kind of hangs over a little bit, I don't mind, just as long as it goes across onto that building. I didn't realize how much of an angle that building, or how, not how much of an angle, but kind of how far off to the left that building was until I started building up here. And I wish that I had kind of made it curve a little bit, but it works out. And here I'm just using this to fill the gap. And this is a pain trying to get this piece to snap, and I finally get it. And then I place the other floor, which it snapped a second ago, if you like noticed, but I couldn't get it to snap when I was looking at it, and I guess I just didn't pay attention to when it did snap. But I just used place anywhere to snap it. I wish that I had put that floor at a different angle, so I tried to pick it up, but I couldn't get it at this point. And so I just left it. Because there was a little bit clipping through that other floor, but it wasn't too much, so I didn't feel like it was anything that was like necessarily needed to be changed. And then again, I just am going to go ahead and fill in all these gaps and to kind of break up the textures on this side to avoid using the same ones over and over, even though I do use the same ones over and over. I use these outer caps on both sides, and just like the hotel rooms in that, or the motel rooms in that second floor, I do fill in the inside, and I do that through a lot of these houses because now that I've done it, I think it looks a lot better than just having it open, because you can decorate the walls and it feels a little bit more secluded and closed off than it regularly would. And so I do that a lot, and you'll notice it from now on. And I just think it looks really good compared to a lot of other things. But at first I was going to kind of make this a little bit angled, having the different height roofs, but then I realized that there would be a gap, and that would be like almost impossible to do with the different heights. And so I just went ahead and used place anywhere to place some of these flat roofs, quarter roof pieces in. I could have done it with the different heights because they've got different degrees of those individual pieces that you can use, but I think that it would be better if I just left it flat. It probably would have looked good with like an angle to kind of make it not look so boxy, but I'm all right with how it looks. I think it looks all right. But yeah, just a lot of small details like this I think, make it look a little bit more interesting. Of course, no one's going to see the roof from above, but I actually think it looks a lot better with those individual pieces. It looks a little bit more broken up, and the textures look a little bit more different. And then I needed to place a door in, but I couldn't get it to place with the shack floors out front already being placed down, so I just used place anywhere to get it right in there, and yeah, it worked out pretty well. And on this end, I wanted it to be open. I wanted to have a window. I ended up doing the same thing that I did with some of the houses in my original build with the light bulbs on the window, because I really liked that. I never really use it anymore, but I wanted to have lights kind of in interesting places in this build. I want to light up certain areas more than others, and it's hard to section off these houses with them being so small. So you'll notice, like, with these houses, I try to section off where the beds are, especially with lighting, because lights carry everywhere, as like, that's pretty obvious. But whenever I was trying to light up certain areas, I was trying to just make it look like it was darker where the beds were. And right here, I'm trying to build like a little shack type of thing out in front of the entire build, kind of out more towards the water purifiers. And I did that because I wanted it to be more of a circle. Like I said, it's supposed to be a town like center type of thing, and I wanted it to be more like a circle around the water purifiers and kind of be a little bit tighter and break the textures up a little bit, because like right on the front of the wall, I can already see two separate walls that I used twice. And I just think that using this kind of breaks the textures up a little bit better. And yeah, I think it ends up looking a lot better with this small little shack on the front. It's pretty open, and it's not very big, but I think it actually looks pretty cool. And I thought I did a pretty good job of actually making a door frame out of the small gap in front of this area. So like on the left here, how it's kind of open on the half shack wall. I think I did a good job of making it actually look like a door. And the way that I did make the little door frame is here in a moment, you guys will see. But I use just the individual wood pieces added by CVA. And right here I'm trying to figure out what I want to really do with it. Didn't know. And so right here, like I said, I thought that I'd be able to pillar glitch them in, but it actually wouldn't let me pick any of the beams up. So I just used place anywhere. I had to save because this is the kind of stuff that will definitely make your game crash. And I tried to fill this in as high as I could on the house, or on the outer wall or whatever, and try to have no gaps and also it not look bad. And then I just grabbed some different textured pieces and some longer pieces or whatever, and I just filled it in, leaving as little of a gap as I could. Also, I don't know, I don't think a door will actually fit in this gap that I leave, but I just leave it open instead of placing a door, because I don't really think it needs a door. It's only like one bed and a chair that ends up being in here. But after I get it all built, I just go ahead and I pillar glitch it into the actual place that I want, and I wanted it right along this side of the build. And I had placed a shack bridge underneath that half wall that this one right here is connecting to on the right. And I went ahead and used the tall junk wall that's kind of at an angle, and I placed it right underneath where it kind of fits like perfectly, because these actually do, and I keep accidentally hitting place anywhere, like activate place anywhere every single time I place anything down, and then it picks up the concrete wall. It's nice. But yeah, I love doing this right here because it actually fits like perfect on the wall. And it's a really good way to kind of change the texture and also make it look a little bit more built up. But here's the final tour. As you can see, I think it looks pretty good, like right alongside the water purifiers. And the next set of houses are going to be right behind those. And you guys will see that in the next video. But yeah, I think that looks really good. I think it looks like it fits right perfectly in the area. And then here in a second, I'll actually be down there and I'll explore each of the houses and show you each of my things for each house. These are pretty, I think it's actually pretty detailed in a few of the houses, but some of the houses not too much. The build limit on this I've done over like 3 or 4 times already. It's pretty ridiculous. But the amount of detail that I put into that building over there, the previous builds, was way too much to be able to build a huge settlement outside of this. So it's gonna be, I think, a pretty choppy frame rate eventually. But like this house right here, it's got pretty good details. I built a little bedroom with the leather chest piece on top of the dresser and stuff, and then just some crates, and then over here there's a table with a lot of like documents, a comic book that's open. All these things were added, well, not all of these, but a lot of these things were added with Skyline's mod. I don't know exactly what it's called, but yeah, I used those posters from that mod as well. And you'll notice, like I said, there's not like a ton of lights in all of these houses, because I don't think that it necessarily needs them. And I tried to make some interesting looking furniture. Like there's a little like 2-person dining area over here. A lot of decoration on the shelf. Like I said, some of these houses have high decorations, or heavy decoration, but then at the same time, some of them don't. So I placed a lot of like food up there on top of that shelf, and then a lot of stuff underneath this bed. And then I think the upstairs house, I didn't really put too much decoration in it. But yeah, I thought this was a really cool build. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know you guys what else you'd want me to build in a settlement. I know that I'm going to build a bar and probably a couple more sets of houses and stuff. One more on this side and I think another on the other side. But let me know what else you guys would be interested in seeing here. And thanks for all the support recently. We're getting pretty close to 200, but yeah, it's insane. It blows my mind that we're this far already. It's crazy. I didn't really expect this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.